The Creator rejoices over his beloved child who has just uncovered what heaven has been waiting for them to see. This is no accident. It isn't some random coincidence. It is a divine moment chosen and authored long before they took their very first breath. The divine had been waiting for them to arrive, to pause long enough for his voice to finally reach their heart. The simple fact that they are reading these words means they are called to something sacred, something profoundly holy, something that will begin shifting the entire course of their life. Let's witness this together. Heaven itself rejoices because they opened a door that many walk past without noticing. They opened God's message, and within these very words, they will find exactly what their soul has been seeking. The Creator knew they didn't expect this. The soul thought they were simply scrolling, searching, or just passing time. But God had been guiding them here. The gentle nudge that brought them to these words wasn't chance. It was Him. He had been whispering to their heart, drawing them closer. Because there are things the divine longed to tell them, promises He longed to give them, and a pure love He longed for them to finally feel again. They will be deeply blessed upon uncovering what He is about to reveal, because these words carry profound healing where they have been hurting, light where they were lost, and total hope where they have felt utterly hopeless. They didn't find this specific message alone. The Heavenly Father brought this revelation directly to them. Even now, as they read, heaven is actively watching. The angels stand near the child, their divine light surrounding the room entirely. You and I can sense the joy in that unseen realm, because every time His children open their hearts to listen, the heavens sing. He is smiling upon them, for they allowed His voice to reach places where it had been silent for entirely too long. This divine message is more than mere sentences. It is God's heartbeat poured into words. He authored this with a kind of love nobody else could ever offer them. Every word they are about to read carries the very breath of His Holy Spirit. The divine wrapped His presence inside these lines, so that as they read, they don't just see letters, they feel Him. They feel the absolute weight of His peace, the warmth of His arms, the pull of His unconditional love. The Father knows how long they have waited for something totally real, something true, something that doesn't just fade away when the world inevitably grows dark. He knows they have desperately tried to fill the emptiness in their fragile heart with things that never actually last. He sees how tired they have been of constantly running, how often they've quietly whispered, "There must be more than this." This holy message is His direct answer. Yes, there is more. There is Him. Every single ache, every deep longing, every silent cry has led them here to this exact moment where God speaks directly to their spirit. The divine is here to tell them that they have been seen, they have been completely heard, and they have been loved far more deeply than they could understand. You and I must recognize the truth here. What they are feeling right now isn't just their imagination. The calm that begins to finally settle, the warmth rising in their chest, that soft stirring of perfect peace. It is His presence. He is touching their heart, reminding them, He promises, you're not alone. The Creator has always been with you, and He has waited for this exact moment for such a long time. He's been waiting for you to pause long enough to finally let Him speak. The Almighty has so much to tell you. You've survived storms that made you wonder if God was even there anymore. But He was present in every single tear, silence, and breath. The Lord held you close when you felt completely abandoned. He guided your steps when the path was dark. Now He is speaking directly to you so loudly that you'll never again doubt if He notices you. He sees you. He always has. When the Maker looks at you, He doesn't see your failures. He doesn't see fear. He sees no shame. He only sees His precious, chosen, beloved child. He sees the one He sacrificed everything, for whose name is carved into His own hands. God sees the divine beauty He gave you long before the world tried stealing it. You might have completely forgotten who you really are, but He hasn't. You belong to Him. No darkness, no mistake, and no earthly voice can ever erase that eternal truth. And through this message right now, He is breathing that truth back to life. The Lord is whispering your true identity into existence. He is commanding joy to rise up where there was only sorrow and brilliant light where deep confusion lived. Heaven isn't miles away from you. It actually wraps around you today. Let's be honest, you're sitting right inside a miracle, and might not even notice it. The very air you breathe carries His peace. The entire atmosphere shifts when God speaks. And as you take these words in, that massive shift is happening inside you. A deep spiritual awakening is happening. Something dormant is finally stirring. That heavy emptiness you've carried simply cannot survive His voice. The despair that weighed you down will absolutely shatter in His holy presence. You're about to find a pure joy that doesn't rely on anything or anyone in this broken world. You are about to experience what true divine love actually feels like. So take a breath, let your racing heart be completely still. This sacred moment is just between you and Him. The noisy world can wait outside. The anxieties can pause. For these next few quiet moments, it's just you and your Creator. He isn't showing up to deliver a harsh lecture. God is just here to love you. He isn't going to drag up every single thing that went wrong. The Father wants to remind you what can still go beautifully right. This divine message is an open doorway, and you've just walked right through it. Waiting on the other side of these sentences is peace, profound, healing, and joy like you've never felt. Every single word you're hearing right now carries a promise straight from His heart to yours. Each sentence is a planted seed, and if you let it take root today, it will bloom into a life you never imagined. You are going to laugh again. You'll finally dream again. You'll wake up every morning without dread and fall asleep every single night in perfect peace. You will learn to value yourself exactly as God loves you, fully and without any conditions. You and I both know this isn't normal. You're reading this message today because it isn't just basic information. It's divine transformation. You are hearing the exact words that angels desperately want to declare. You are catching what heaven itself has prepared, especially for you. Please don't rush through this holy moment. Every single line was written for you. Every pause carries the Creator's breath. The Creator is there with His beloved, closer than a heartbeat. The heavy weight that has been pressing on them is already lifting. The bright, divine light they thought was lost is returning. They have opened something holy, something eternal, a message meant only for them. Truly blessed His child. Heaven celebrates this exact moment. The chains that once bound them are loosening as they listen. The deep peace they have been searching for is entering their spirit right now. The faithful proclaim that Jesus shines in their darkness, letting light break through pain. He asks His child to stay, not hurrying away, letting these words sink into every place that aches, letting His holy presence fill the silence they have been afraid to face. We know they didn't find this message by chance. The Lord brought this message to them written with love nobody else could give. He asks them to stay, because by the end of these words, their heart will never be the same again. He knows His child much more deeply than they have ever known themselves. He watched them through every changing season, through the joyful laughter others see, and through the quiet tears that no one does. God has seen the silent tears that nobody else ever noticed. He has felt the crushing weight they hide right behind their smile. The Creator listened to the painful words they never dared to say aloud, every worried thought trembling in their mind, every heavy sigh leaving their lips in total exhaustion, every single question rising from their heart. He heard it all. Nothing about their life escaped His watchful eyes. He has been beside them from the very beginning, quietly holding every moment they thought was forever forgotten. There were long nights they sat awake, staring into the dark, wondering if anyone really cared. There were tough days they smiled only because they had to, not because they felt true joy. He was there. When they felt invisible, He saw them clearly. When they felt entirely unworthy, He quietly whispered their worth. When they felt unloved, God surrounded them with His boundless love even when they could not quite feel it. He has seen how hard they tried being strong for everyone else. He watched them carry heavy burdens that were never meant to be theirs alone. They thought He was silent during those dark times, but He was guiding every step. They assumed He was distant, but He was actually holding them closer than ever. Every painful hardship touching their life passed carefully through His hands first. He allowed only what could shape them, never destroy them. They have walked through harsh seasons of waiting that seemed truly endless. They prayed and heard absolutely nothing. They hoped and saw no change. They felt totally abandoned in the silence. But He was right there in the quiet, weaving divine purpose into all that waiting. Every single delay had meaning. Every unanswered prayer was preparing them for what he was building behind the scenes. They thought God forgot them, but he absolutely never did. He has been arranging everything in its proper time in beautiful ways they cannot yet see. He has been protecting them from closed doors that would have harmed them, and preparing entirely new paths that will soon open before them. He has felt their bitter disappointment when things simply did not work out the way they had always dreamed. Let's remember how God watched their heartbreak and trust fade when loved ones walked. The Lord heard those whispered questions fading away. We've all asked, "Why me? Why now?" Yet he answered, not with spoken words, but divine presence. His silence wasn't absence. It was the Lord standing right beside them, collecting every tear, holding every shattered piece of their heart. They never cried alone, not even once. No single tear ever fell without being carefully counted in heaven. Each one was precious to him. He stored them not as painful reminders, but as proof of endurance, holy seeds that will soon bloom into joy in the coming days. They walked through profound loneliness, the heavy kind sitting quietly beside a person, even inside a crowded, busy room. They felt totally unseen and unheard, as if their existence was small and their voice entirely unimportant. But the Creator was listening all along. Every time they whispered his name, he turned his face toward them. Every single time their heart reached out, even in deep confusion, God was there. He felt the deep ache sitting inside their chest, the longing for something incredibly real, something lasting, something truly feeling like home. That intense longing was never a curse. It was the echo of the divine calling them back. He placed that spiritual hunger inside them so that they would never settle for less than his holy presence. He knew exactly how tired they were. They carried heavy responsibilities, draining all their strength, smiled through the pain, and kept walking, even when their exhausted legs trembled beneath them. They desperately tried holding everything together when everything was completely falling apart. They told themselves they were totally fine because they thought they had to be. But you and I know God saw every time their soul whispered, "I can't do this anymore." The Lord was the one lifting them when they simply could not stand. When they thought they had absolutely no strength left, God gave them his own. They are still standing today because heaven has been sustaining them. They are still breathing because his guiding hand has never ever left them. Support our mission of spreading faith and true joy. A super thanks donation helps us keep inspiring lives and sharing his love daily. The Lord remembered the many times his child had quietly doubted him. He heard all those difficult questions, the heavy ones they were too afraid to ask out loud. They genuinely wondered if God still cared, if he was still listening. They honestly thought that maybe their faithful prayers were too small entirely, ordinary, too easily forgotten. But they were never forgotten. The Almighty stored every single word they ever prayed. Even the painful ones that came out as sighs or tears directly reached his throne. Every prayer, even the completely broken ones, carries immense power coming from the heart. They might not have seen the answered prayers just yet, but that doesn't mean heaven was idle. He answers in ways so much higher than mortal understanding, in perfect timing, far wiser than their plans. God saw how easily their soft heart freely gave love even when it got hurt. He watched them graciously forgive when others simply wouldn't. He watched them keep caring when walking away would have been much easier. The Lord has watched them deliberately choose kindness when deep bitterness seemed justified. That is why he's proud. Let's remember this together. They might not see themselves the way God does, but he sees a beautiful heart refusing to stop believing. He sees incredible strength hidden behind their gentleness. He sees courage that rises even after being wounded. He watches that light refuse to fade, no matter how dark the night gets. You question your worth, but God has never doubted it. You are worth the blood he shed, the life he gave. He did not die because you were perfect. He gave everything because you were precious. You are still exactly that precious to him. When the Creator looks at you, he sees immense potential, not failures. Not your shame, but a bright future. Not mistakes, but true destiny. He knows what you can become when you let him heal the wounds hidden for so long. You keep seeking love from people who simply cannot love you the way God does. You have sought out peace in places that could never provide it, chasing fleeting happiness that vanishes the moment you catch it. Yet even through all your wandering, he never turns his face from you. The Lord follows you into every season, mistake, and painful heartbreak. His devotion has not weakened because of your distance. It only grows much deeper. He walks beside you through rebellion and repentance, through the quiet moments, and true worship through joy and pain. He has remained constant when absolutely everything else changes. You and I know this message arrives now because He clearly sees the deep weariness weighing your spirit down. God knows you have been holding on, but you feel exhausted. He knows you want to believe again, while fear whispers that it is useless. Your faith might feel small, but even tiny seeds move mountains when they are placed into His hands. God is never angry at your spiritual fatigue. He is deeply moved by it. Not disappointed by your weakness, the Creator is reaching out to strengthen you now. He wants to restore everything the cruel world took from you. The Almighty breathes fresh life back into those parts of you feeling numb. He is here reminding you that your story continues. The tears, the heavy waiting, the loneliness, none of it was wasted. They shaped your heavy heart to truly hear Him now. We are hearing these exact words because He wants to replace that total exhaustion with peace, the confusion with clarity, and your emptiness with divine fullness. The Lord heals you gently from the inside out, making you completely new. This message is not just random comfort. It is a divine appointment. God arranged every single step, every delay, every single encounter, so this exact moment could happen. You are not watching by mere chance. You are here on purpose. He is actively restoring your hope today. He is rebuilding your broken faith. God is reminding you that when you thought He was gone, He was working behind the curtain of your difficult circumstances. He turned profound pain into preparation, heavy silence into strength, waiting into wisdom. You will look back later and realize God was there all along. You will see how those tears you cried watered the ground for something new to grow. Absolutely nothing was ever wasted, not one moment tear or bitter trial. Every piece led you straight to this moment where He speaks to you so clearly. God sees you. He knows you. He loves you. Now you and I can trust His restoration. Rest easy, beloved soul. The Almighty asks the weary soul to stop holding everything together alone. He offers to carry that crushing weight for them. He wants to breathe pure peace into their exhausted spirit. He promises to heal unspoken wounds. They are never truly forgotten. They have never been abandoned. They remain completely safe in His hands. From this exact moment, the divine begins renewing their broken heart in ways that will leave them in absolute awe. They will feel real joy and deep trust again. They will truly live. He has witnessed everything, and yet He still chooses them, His child. Let's look closer. This message they hold is no ordinary text. It is a gift from heaven. It is not some random collection of words, not something meant to be lightly skimmed and quickly forgotten. It is a living breath sent directly from the Creator's heart into theirs. He sent this exact message to bridge their deep pain with His perfect peace, connecting their endless searching with His answers. No one finds this by sheer coincidence. They are here because heaven witnessed their exhaustion and decided today would be the day they feel His unconditional love again. They have opened something sacred, something truly living, something carrying the very heartbeat of eternity. They search for happiness everywhere, but true lasting joy has always resided in the Lord. Real joy begins not when their outside world is perfectly flawless, but when their fragile heart connects deeply with His love. The world taught them that happiness relies entirely on possessions, social status, or how much they manage to accomplish. But here we see God teaching them that true happiness flows from whom they belong to. They belong to the Almighty. They were perfectly created to find joy in His divine presence, to rest in His calm peace, and to draw endless strength from His love. That is exactly why even when their whole life falls apart, He still offers them a peace that holds them together. When His words reach their heavy heart, violent storms begin to finally quiet down, fear slowly fades, and hope starts rising again. They become the happiest of souls when they embrace His message because His holy words carry life. Every single sentence the divine speaks brings healing. Every truth He reveals breathes warm light into total darkness. God does not merely speak to their physical ears. He speaks directly to their inner soul. When he declares them deeply loved, love starts to bloom right where bitter pain once grew. When he declares them completely forgiven, crushing guilt begins to dissolve like morning mist under bright sunlight. When he calls them chosen, heavy doubt loses its tight grip. The Creator's words never return completely empty. They spark profound change. As they read, his promises are already working deep inside them, breaking chains, softening old wounds, restoring what was lost. Every pain they buried, every single dream abandoned, every prayer they assumed God ignored, he is answering them right now. They thought he was totally silent, but he was busy preparing. They believed the Almighty was late, but he was building something far greater than they imagined. They assumed their prayers vanished into thin air, but they became resilient seeds planted deep in heavenly soil, waiting for the perfect season to finally bloom. That season starts now. We witness his flawless timing because he simply does not want to offer them temporary things that fade. He wants to give them what lasts forever. Every painful moment, every fallen tear, and every long delay has been shaping the ground for. Right now, the Creator pours divine joy into his beloved. They have carried sadness for far too long. They have spent countless nights questioning their own worth, wondering if things will ever improve. They walked with a smiling face, hiding a heavy heart. But now the Lord is lifting that crushing weight. A deep heavenly warmth is beginning to rise within them. It is God touching their heart, healing places others could never reach. Divine peace is quietly entering spaces they have kept hidden away. Those deep corners of the soul left dim for far too long. His perfect love flows into their heart's deepest cracks, like pure golden light filling shattered glass, making them whole and radiant again. They have waited for happiness to arrive from external things, from other people, from worldly success, from shifting circumstances. Yet those things cannot hold the profound joy heaven has prepared for them. This heavenly joy doesn't depend on outward surroundings. It lives deep within them. It expands when they listen, trust, and finally let go. It is exactly the kind of joy that remains while violent storms rage, the kind of lasting peace standing firm when everything else completely shakes. The Almighty does not promise a human life without struggle, but he promises a faithful heart that won't be destroyed by it. Have we ever wondered why heaven truly celebrates when someone opens his message? Because whenever they draw near to God, real life returns. The angels constantly rejoice because they witness what happens when divine words meet a truly willing heart. Darkness retreats. Deep faith awakens. Hope starts breathing again. They might not see it, but the simple act of reading his words has already shifted their surrounding atmosphere. All of heaven is moving on their behalf. The Creator is touching lives, opening new doors, healing painful wounds, and aligning events, all to guide them toward prepared joy. What they call coincidence is his divine coordination. What they consider delays are his master design. He knows there are wounds going deeper than words could ever describe. They have been deeply hurt by people they trusted, severely disappointed by moments they heavily counted on. They carried pain quietly, never wanting to burden a single soul. But they were never meant to carry it all alone. The Lord felt every ache in their heart. He has seen every bitter memory that still stings whenever they think of it. And now his love is washing completely over it all. God is healing not just surface pain, but the deep roots that caused it entirely. He is pulling up all bitterness, shame, and regret, and planting lasting peace, forgiveness, and freedom. We may not fully understand it, but as they read this, something deep inside them is fundamentally shifting. God is rewriting his child's entire story. What was once a heavy record of sorrow will become a beautiful testimony of grace. What was utterly broken will shine much brighter than before. What looked like the bitter end will become a fresh beginning. His joy is never just a fragile feeling. It is a mighty force transforming everything it touches. When divine joy enters their earthly life, even ordinary moments become completely holy. Even their old scars begin shining with clear purpose. They will begin seeing breathtaking beauty right where they once saw only gray ashes. They will start feeling alive in incredible ways they thought were entirely gone forever. Let's consider a truth together. Real happiness comes solely from his divine approval. The weary soul has been chasing a peace that only He can give. They spend years waiting for someone to finally see them, but the Almighty sees them all along. He has been quietly calling their name in the silence, whispering that they are enough, truly loved, and that they are still His. Now He just wants them to finally believe it. He wants that soul to let this truth sink deep into their heart. They don't have to earn His joy. They never have to prove their worth to receive His grace. He gives it freely, fully, and endlessly. They are asked to say they trust His hidden plan, believing He works beyond what they can see. The life He offers them isn't built on random luck or pure chance. It is built entirely on His promise, not the kind of fleeting happiness that fades when the day ends. It is the kind that wakes with them every single morning and holds them through every dark night. His peace is taking root in them right now. It will grow quietly, like delicate flowers pushing through the frost after a long winter. At first, they might not notice the subtle change, but soon they'll look back and see just how much lighter their weary heart feels, how much calmer their racing thoughts have become, how much brighter the world looks. That is what His presence does. It transforms without effort. It gently heals without demanding anything. It brings joy unconditionally. They will smile again, not because life suddenly gets easier, but because they will finally know they are never walking through this world alone. They'll find hidden strength they never knew they had because it comes directly from Him. They will feel an impossible love simply because it flows directly from His divine spirit inside them. They'll see the world differently because they will finally see it all through eyes touched by grace. When others ask what changed, they will know it was that moment. Stick with me when they open His message, when heaven reaches out, when divine love finds them once again. So He tells His child to rest, letting His words do their healing work, letting them heal them, renew them, fill them completely. This message was never meant to be passing encouragement. It was meant to be a true turning point. They will be the happiest person not because the outside world changes, but because their own heart will. His joy will take root, and from it absolute peace will bloom. Purpose will rise and hope will never die again. They are stepping into an entirely new chapter, written by His hand, sealed with His endless love and filled with His light. Their genuine happiness has just begun. As the child opens those sacred words, light enters their tired heart. Every lingering shadow begins to fade. Every single chain that has held them bound begins to shatter. They might not see it visually, but their spirit feels it deeply. The quiet shift, the release, the pure breath of heaven moving through the empty spaces inside them that have been heavy for so long. They are finally beginning to remember what it feels like to breathe without fear, to rest without constant worry, to live without pretending to be strong all the time. The spiritual transformation they have been waiting for isn't happening externally. You and I know it begins deep inside, where His divine love touches what was once totally numb, bringing it right back to life. He is breathing life. He reaches into the dry places of your spirit. He is washing the dust of disappointment right from your heart. Every dream buried underneath heavy layers of pain is stirring once more. Every deep wound you tried forgetting is being gently healed by His hands. The Creator's light is never harsh. It doesn't bring shame. It reveals to restore. He shines into the corners where you have tucked away your fear, where you buried your hope, and where you have entirely silenced your voice. His light never comes to condemn you. It arrives to remind you that you were never meant to dwell in the dark. You are His beautiful creation, and light is your true home. You have carried the world's noise far too long. Right now, He is filling you with heaven's absolute quiet. You have been running, striving, stressing, and overthinking for years, and your soul has grown exhausted. This world taught you to stay incredibly busy so you wouldn't have to feel that deep ache inside. But He is calling you into total stillness, to a peace that never depends on constant motion. He whispers to be still and know that He is God. Listen closely, not with your ears, but with your spirit. The true peace you feel right now is not temporary. It is Him drawing near. The Creator isn't asking you to try harder. He wants you to rest much deeper. He is lifting the heavy weight you carry, replacing it completely with His divine presence. Let's pause. Do you feel that warmth within you? That calm settling like a soft light? That is exactly what happens when His Spirit moves. God is actively mending the unseen breaks in your heart. He is untangling those knots of fear and worry that held you captive. The Lord is rewriting the entire language of your thoughts. So instead of gripping anxiety, you hear pure hope. Instead of self-criticism, you hear His boundless love. You are finally beginning to see yourself exactly the way He sees you. Not as broken, but as becoming, not as wandering, but as found. Not as forgotten, but as truly chosen. This is divine transformation. It is gentle, yet incredibly powerful. It doesn't happen instantly, but rather in every single moment you allow Him to stay close. He is touching the spots hardened by deep disappointment, and He is making them completely soft again. God is tearing down the walls pain built around your tender heart. He knows exactly why you built them. He understands you were just protecting yourself from more hurt. But you don't need those walls anymore because His unending love is your shield. The Almighty is the one guarding your heart now. You can fully trust Him with your deepest wounds. When you let the Creator in, He does not reopen your pain. He actively redeems it. Every single scar becomes a story of survival. Every broken piece becomes part of something beautiful. Listen closely to this. He is working right now. Even right now, the toxic bitterness that lingered is fully dissolving. The crushing heaviness that sat upon your chest is finally lifting. That thick confusion clouding up your thoughts is rapidly clearing. His Spirit moves quietly but powerfully, like wind rushing through the tall trees, like water washing over stones. He is carefully reshaping you from the inside out. You have tried changing yourself with pure effort, strict resolutions, and willpower, but real change only comes from His holy presence. You don't transform yourself. You simply allow yourself to be transformed by God. When He enters a willing heart, He brings absolute renewal. The Creator makes all things new. Not some things, not a few things, but absolutely everything. He does not patch what is broken, He rebuilds it. God doesn't merely mend what is torn. He weaves it anew with brilliant threads of grace and heavenly glory. When His holy light enters, the darkness has no choice but to flee. When His perfect love settles, fear loses its ground completely. When His peace fills a room, chaos simply cannot stay. The human spirit feels this now, this deep stillness, this profound clarity, the gentle assurance that everything will be all right. That is the Lord. That is exactly what happens when heaven moves inside a human heart. The soul grows lighter because He actively removes what was never meant to be carried. He strips away the heavy layers of guilt, toxic comparison, endless worry, and deep shame. Those heavy weights were never part of His original design. Mankind was made for pure freedom, created for love, beautifully designed to walk in the profound peace of belonging entirely to Him. You and I often hunt for happiness in so many places, chasing approval, success, relationships, and achievements. But true joy doesn't stem from worldly circumstances. Instead, it comes from pure intimacy with the Creator. When a heart beats in His rhythm, joy flows effortlessly. The endless chasing finally stops. True joy will live deep within. This sacred transformation isn't about becoming someone entirely new. It is about returning to a person's true original self. The world feeds people lies about their worth, their divine purpose, and their future. But God actively unravels every single lie. They are never too late. They are never too deeply broken. They are not forgotten. They are not falling hopelessly behind. He is restoring them. Believers are exactly where they need to be for this renewal to begin. Every painful wound has positioned the heart for this divine encounter. Every detour has led them back to this moment with Him. Nothing is ever wasted, not even the pain. God uses everything to draw His people closer. We will notice that as we keep reading, those racing thoughts begin to slow. The breathing deepens. The mind finally quiets down. That is His Holy Spirit working within. He is removing the chaos that once felt so normal, replacing it with peace that feels holy. God is teaching the wounded heart to trust again, to properly rest again, to passionately hope again. No one has to force anything, just receive, letting His divine light soak into every corner of human existence. letting the deep warmth of his love reach even the dark memories that once felt entirely too heavy to face. He isn't asking anyone to forget them. He heals those deep wounds so they lose control. Say that he is our true comfort if God calmed an anxious heart today. Share his peace.